know at Forrester, this is always a challenge when we ask a question, what's the biggest hurdle of making use of your measurement and insights? It's always around data and then activation. It's a Herculean task that requires a lot of coordination between internal analytics teams and marketing leadership teams, or even director levels of marketing and media agencies. So I want to dive into some best practices around how to activate a lot of the optimization recommendations and scenario plans. So Mike, I'll start with you. I know you manage a lot of moving parts at Gilead, and to ensure a consistent portfolio view of marketing performance is not only shared, but it's actually acted on. How do you ensure and continually manage the recommendations from your scenario plans or your optimization models? How do you ensure that they're activated across your internal teams like sales and marketing, as well as with your partner agencies? And how do you connect those dots between the agency partners and your internal teams to ensure that workflow is consistent?
Yeah, absolutely. I think from an internal standpoint, it really starts with what we touched on before, right? Really engaging the stakeholder groups in the beginning, making sure it's a collaborative exercise, and building that sense of ownership and co-ownership with them into the insights that they're looking for. And if they come into it with a specific set of questions that you can uniquely answer with these models, you don't really need to hold them accountable to activating on them, right? They'll sort of do it themselves. But beyond that, I think, what we try to do is really think about how timing of these analyses and timing of these insights matters quite a bit, right? We plan and schedule our marketing analytics to read out to coincide with our annual brand planning process. And that way, those insights are delivered in a timely way that can be immediately built into the upcoming brand strategy and tactical plan for the upcoming year. The models we build for scenario planning or budget optimization can be used directly in budget requests and expense planning and things like that, also coinciding with that timing of the year. And once you have that cadence worked out and that working relationship established, the pull through on insights and recommendations becomes much more organic, right? And I think that one thing that we do really well with Ipsos is ensure that we have partners with the agency as well, partnerships with the agency on a monthly basis with those optimization readouts. So Ipsos works directly with the agency to sort of co-develop action plans based on the insights that they see in the data, and use those monthly check-ins as a mechanism to keep their to keep the action plans active and refreshed. And our brand partners really use those as opportunities to hold their agencies accountable. So using that credibility that we've established allows us to be their eyes and ears to provide that unbiased view of performance that they can utilize. And most importantly, they can track the impact of those optimization decisions, which further reinforce the importance of the analytics and the benefit to both the brand and the agency teams.
Great. Now, Sean, you manage several large local brands across the country, and because of this, you have managed various analytical needs of different marketing groups, and measurement and insights could look very different across different brands and demographic areas. And I can imagine that managing activation strategies across different agencies and internal teams at a local level would require a tremendous amount of coordination across your workflow. So how do you ensure that your marketing measurement optimization recommendations are activated across hyperlocal markets while meeting the needs of different internal teams and dealing with different agencies?
Yeah, good question. A couple things I'd echo that Mike mentioned is your agencies have to know that, and all your partners in marketing need to know that you have a single source of truth for performance, and that's your marketing mix model. And ultimately, any recommendations I get from an agency have to be anchored in that, and all of our planning and budgeting discussions have to be anchored in that. Mike also mentioned coinciding your readouts on your model with the planning cycles. That's a great best practice, and the planning should start and end ultimately through forecasting with what your marketing models are predicting and expecting from the performance. Now, we do at Albertsons manage over 20 regional banners, and we operate with 12 regional divisions to do that. But the marketing is not as complex as it might seem. Most of our digital media is managed at a national level. But what we work with our local partners on is localizing the messaging. So we leverage our marketing mix model to plan and budget on a local level. But if we do that right at the beginning of the year and we revisit it quarterly, we pretty much stick to that plan. And then the work becomes optimizing and making sure that the messaging is right for each of the local environments. And specifically that we have continuity between our messaging across all channels. So if something is happening in one of our stores, that it matches what we're doing in digital media and other places as well.
Great. And we're coming up close to time.